Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons podcast. Today is a special episode as we're doing an interview with our new member, Menhir. Hello, Menhir.
Hello there.
You're a new addition to the Crayon Box. What color would you be and why?
I guess I would have to say that I'm, pretty brown and beige. Why? Because I am.
Yeah, brown and beige.
Brown and beige.
Menhir, what are your strengths?
Well, I'm very good at meditating and waiting very long periods of time. I have the ability to just melt into the background and make myself look as a rock because I am a rock. So I'd say waiting, listening, and remembering things. I have a very, very long memory.
Oh, all right. What are your weaknesses?
I tend to erode in rain. Leave me too long outside or leave me beside a shore, and I will tend to be very polished at the end, and probably not the kind of polish that you're used to. But, it's good every now and then. It's kind of like a haircut, but for rocks.
Right. Wash off that traveling moss. Yeah.
Hmm?
Where did you grow up?
I was actually, it depends on your definition of grown up, because I come from the elemental plane of Earth. But I was bound to the material plane by a circle of druids. Not their fault. Very sweet people. They took me in after they did it by accident. I spent quite some time on that coast. But eventually, they all died out. I rolled into the forest. And I feel like that's where I really evolved and became who I am today. So I'd say the forest.
Oh, yeah. All right. Why did you want to join the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild?
Well, as I mentioned, I came into my own in the forest, and I did learn to live in that environment and be one with the animals. And at some point, I saw this really strange bipedal creature pass by, and I was just so intrigued because I'd never seen anything like that before in hundreds of years. And making my way into civilization and these cities, I realized, there's so much of me lying around and paving the way, except it can't talk, so it can't tell you that, your boots hurt. And I really wanted to bond with these new creatures and get to learn how they live and be a part of their ecosystem like I am in the forest.
Oh, exploration. Yeah, that's one of our core tenets of Dungeons & Dragons. Perfect. All right. We have an annual tournament here in Nicomoy called the Fight Club.
Oh.
And one person or a team wins the Fight Club each year. So a lot of people come and they watch it. They fill the stadium. It's packed with people. If you were given a 1-minute advertisement slot during the annual Nicomoy fighting tournament, what would you fill it with?
I would have to say definitely be respectful of the forest. Advertising for myself personally. If you ever need anybody to stand watch, I'm your rock. I don't eat, I don't sleep, so it costs a lot less to keep me on as a god. And I don't sleep, like I said, so you know that you're getting 24-hour service.
That's a very good security system advertisement. Yes. So, Menhir, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, as I said, I could pass myself up as a rock, and it does sound kind of boring to most people, but I do enjoy just sitting and listening and watching. I haven't developed the skills to judge yet, and I don't know the basis of what it would be in the city, but I really am excited to, get to know a lot more people, get to know what the basis is, and maybe get some opinions of my own.
Yeah, you're growing.
I try to.
Yeah.
I'm not a crystal, I'm just a boulder, but, I try to add on when I can.
Question 8. What things in life are still a mystery to you?
Well, as I said, I don't quite understand people's basis for judgment and opinions. I come from the forest where everything is just so well in balance. I did develop the ability over the years to spend time in different shapes, so I can turn into an animal.
Ooh.
And I managed to learn how they live and what keeps them in balance. I have no idea how that works in society. I see one person that looks like a peasant. I see another person that looks like a peasant, but apparently one of them is more important than the other because of something they have on the head. I don't get that yet.
Maybe it will become clear over time.
I hope so.
Humans are interesting creatures. Yes. All right. If you were to say One thing. What is your annoying habit?
Well, I tend to crush things. It's not my fault. I try not to do it. But sometimes I have no sense of where I just set myself down. And if, for some reason, I'm not able to survey my behind properly, it just... You may never find it again under my 400 and something pounds.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry.
I'm getting a very sympathetic vibe. You're kind of like Edward Scissorhands, where he has scissors for hands, and he learns how to cut hedges, but he's kind of disabled. Oh, so...
I mean, you make a point. Metal comes from rock, so scissor hands, rock hands. I can see the relationship. I'd probably like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we will hide the chihuahuas and make sure Nagiri is safely stowed on Emeri's shoulder so that when you sit down, you don't squish anything.
I'm not opposed to tying a bell to my bum if that helps people. I don't mind.
That's very cute. Menhir, do you speak any other languages?
I speak very fluent Dwarf. I speak very fluent Terran, actually, which is pretty uncommon because I do come from the plane of Earth. But that's pretty much it. Common, Dwarvish, Terran.
Yeah. Okay. That's a lot.
Oh, and Giant. I just remembered that. I'm so sorry.
And Giant. Well, that adds some...
The big folk.
That adds some diversity to the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild. We can talk to more people with you there. That's good.
Mm-hmm. They tend to think I'm just gravel, so they try to use me as pavement, but, I am able to pass relatively sight unseen between the toes.
Oh. Speaking of other languages, that leads us to travel and places. Are there any places that you would like to visit?
I've heard great talk about deserts.
Oh.
And I feel like for once, I would actually see some very loose rock because, as a stone myself, we tend to be very unmoving, very rigid. But I have not seen much sand yet, which I'm told is very fluid and very changing. And I'm fascinated by that, to see somebody with a little bit of kinship, but that has that flexibility that I just don't have.
Well, you'll definitely get to go to a desert.
Oh, that's great. That's exciting.
The Havas Sands, just south of Kifasti, have the Burning Flan Festival every year. And there was an earthquake recently that the Fire-Breathing Kittens did a rescue mission at under the desert.
Oh.
And sometimes the animals go wild in rabid sands. That was the plot there, the problem to solve. So you'll definitely get to go to a desert.
Deserts, animals, I'm all for it.
And now that we have the more serious questions over, a little one, do you like pickles, Menhir?
I like the idea of pickles. something that sits in a juice for a while and that changes kind of represents me. If you sit me in water for a while, I won't get all bumpy, I'll just get smooth. But the only thing, though, I would say, because I get the impression that you wonder if I like the taste. I don't eat.
Oh, you don't?
And I can't eat. I've tried. Oh. It just comes into some sort of muck in between my mouth, and so I don't know if I like them taste, but I like the concept.
Okay. So you might have some pickles on you, but they wouldn't be for eating.
They wouldn't be for eating. They'd be for companionship. Marinades speak to me, as I said.
Companion pickles.
Companion pickles.
A penguin walks through that door right now wearing a sombrero. What does it say, and why is it here?
Well, I'm assuming, like me, it's looking for sand. It's looking for warmth. And I would say it's looking for maracas lessons.
All right. So you and the penguin would maraca together?
I would maracas with the penguin. The druids that I more or less grew up with on the coast, they had this thing where they would put dried beans inside hollowed gourds, and they would call them maracas. And I could teach them. I could show the penguin how to make a maracas and then shake it around.
You could. That would be something.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Second to last question. Menhir, what would you like remembered about you?
I would like them to remember that although for most people I am dull and beige, and I don't have a circulatory system, I had a lot of heart.
Ah, that's very nice. Ah, and punny. And very last question. What is one message you would give to your fans?
To my fans, I would say always take the time to be quiet and listen and appreciate the smaller things. I had bugs crawling under me for about 40 years in the forest until I moved. And it's not until I moved that I realized how much work those bugs did to keep my place snug. So stand watch and don't underestimate the small things, and you don't know what you had until you change positions.
Oh, very wise. As would be expected from someone who meditated for 40 years.
I tried.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Menhir. We will be seeing you on some adventures coming up in the Fire-Breathing Kittens.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I look forward to seeing Menhir in future episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.